And we're live. What's up, Billy B?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
He's back. He's back already.
The first one was a mulligan.
Well, we didn't even get into the topic. I had some stuff I wanted to talk to you.
Weird thing on you.
Yeah, no, sorry. I had some stuff I wanted to talk to you about, and we kind of went off on
You got
totally
like bushy old man brows. It's bugging me. Oh,
well,
there it goes.
okay.
Right, here we go.
It's good. We were going to get into some stuff, and we just like totally got sidetracked. Went on some rants.
I was a little tired too, man. My mind was.
It's all good.
I haven't been sleeping well.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
So first, I do want to start off. I got to shout out my buddy and his hat clothing outdoor company. Check it out. Boom. Boom. I can't not wear the Sight and See hat. These hats are awesome. They are sorry, we're getting dogs out of here. They are an outdoor headwear and some other type stuff, clothing for if you're into outdoors,
Some
fishing,
other type
hunting.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what all they do, but I know they have some awesome hats. So
Great product placement.
Gotta shout them out. Check them out. Sight NC. That's Sight INNC. Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Man, they're awesome. But yeah, dude. So how's the band? In case you don't know, we're brothers. Let's get that out of the
See
way.
the resemblance?
We're brothers, obviously. But how's the band? I know you guys been recording.
It's good. The COVID mess threw a kink in things. I was actually in San Antonio. We were recording at this place. It's called Cibolo Studios, built by the great Chet Himes from Austin, Texas. And I was actually working on guitars. It was towards the end of March, I guess. And this is when they started shutting the cities down. Everybody kind of started going on lockdown. And literally, I'm in the middle of a track, and James, one of the engineers, comes in and was like, they're locking the city down at midnight. We should probably...
in, like, you weren't allowed to leave, or what do you mean?
It was essential travel only. You could go to the grocery store and stuff like that. But I mean, for God being out of town, San Antonio's 5 hours from Beaumont, which is where we live, where I'm from, and live. I was like, I should probably go home.
So that obviously kind of put a pause in.
Yeah, but it felt like forever before we went back, but it was probably a month and a half. And then it was a couple weeks ago. I went back, finished everything. And then, they're kind of back doing what they're doing. Everything's kind of back to normal as far as that goes. So
cool.
Yeah.
And if you don't already know, you're living under a rock. Blake is the resident guitar hero / I mean, to me, I'm a little biased because we're related, but I mean, phenomenal guitarist.
There's no bias there at all.
Yeah, but guitarist, really all around musician. Guitar, vocals, kind of the main thing. But you play drums,
Make noise,
piano. I mean,
yeah.
Like
I don't play drums as good as you do, though.
I mean, I did it more as a hobby. You like
okay, whatever.
Okay, well, anyways, trying to just catch people up who may not know.
You were as good on drums as I was at guitar when we were teenagers. Like, you got that good. Like, I started playing guitar within a couple of years. I was like, considered pretty good, I guess. And then, like, same with you. Like, you picked it up, and then you were just like this little phenom.
I actually really miss drumming. But
yeah, I've only been trying to get you to get a kit for the last 10 years.
I know. But it seems like, I went to college, and after college, living in apartments, college.
Yeah, that makes it kind of tough. Yeah.
And then just, not until recently have I actually been living in a house where I could I can actually get drums. So it's on the list.
Back room and really bug your fiance.
Yeah, it's on the list because I do miss it. But yeah, I haven't. Because of apartment, I picked up playing guitar, and I'm a guitar.
And we need to do our project too, man. We're gonna do swanky covers. Like we're gonna do we're gonna do the theme song.
So how many official? I know you do some solo stuff, and then Peace in the Chaos is the main.
Yeah, that's like the main band. It's me and the Saunier brothers, Lynn and Dane Saunier from Houston, who, for anybody who may or may not know, back in the 90s, they were big shit in Houston. And we're both on different labels at different times, doing different stuff, and it's me and them, and then Ken Turner, who's from Beaumont, who's everybody knows Ken. Ken's the Mac Daddy.
And I can say this as someone who was a drummer. Ken is...
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
I watched the guy play, and it's his feel around the kid is just like his touch. Like
ridiculous. He's ridiculous as a drummer, and just as a musician. Same, like he can pick up anything, any instrument.
His singing is phenomenal too.
Yeah,
but
he's a great singer.
What I have the most, I guess, experience or knowledge about is drumming, and his is just best.
He plays,
some of the best I've ever seen.
He plays. It's called open handed, which is if I understand correctly, like most drummers, like if I say I'm right-handed, here's my hi-hat, here's my snare. I'm on the hi-hat like this, and you're on the snare like this.
Yeah.
And Ken will play it with his left hand on the hi-hat. And
basically uncrossed.
He's ambidextrous, basically.
Yeah.
But the style apparently that they call that is open-handed, which basically means he can go all over the place and do whatever he wants to do.
He's insane. He
would set up his drums different ways on different gigs sometimes. Like, most conventional drummers, again, you right-handed drummer, you've got your hi-hat and your snare, and then maybe a couple rack toms, and then your floor toms over here. Ken sometimes would have his floor toms over here next to his snare drum
for the hell of it.
And he's retarded. He's ridiculous, man. Yeah. And what's funny about him, what cracks me up about him is when we'll do like local cover gigs, just go out, drink a few beers and make a little cheddar and just have some fun.
Yeah.
Nobody usually listens, but we get paid and we get to have fun, basically.
Hanging out. And jam session, essentially, yeah.
He's one of the hardest working people I know, man. The guy just has like 27 jobs. And he'll get there, after doing, all his hustles all day. And sometimes I can tell, man, he's a little stressed out. You know what I mean? He's just, but Ken's thing is his playing and stuff like that. That's his therapy. And he literally, he beats the ever living piss out of the drums, when he gets going.
It's the only way to play him. I mean,
the first few times I played with him, I was kind of like, I don't want to say walking on eggshells, but I was like, man, like, I hope he's okay. Like, is something going, you know what I mean? But then, like, after the second or third song, and I could hear it in his playing, I would look back and, like, his whole demeanor would be completely different. I would look back and he'd be playing, and all I would see is teeth. Because he would just be smiling ear to ear and be, he'd be in a better mood. You know what I mean? And that's what cracks me up about him. So, like, when he shows up to gigs, whether it's a cover gig or whether it's one of our gigs, and he's pissed off or he's in a funk, I'm like, oh, we're about to kill it. Because he's going to, seriously, man. It's great.
He's insane. And you've you hear a lot of people say like I'm a musician and a lot of times it's like they play locally with some like me.
Especially when you get older, like
I said 36. I was a musician, but I played with a group of buddies and we mainly played around here and it was just something for fun, to do. But like you've legitimately been all over the U.S.
since I was I've done it professionally since I was 18. It was my first paying gig.
And you toured with, I know David St. Romain.
Yeah, David St. Romain. He was a country artist. He ended up going on Nashville Star, did all that whole thing. I think he got like third runner up. Mm-hmm. I did some other stuff with a local Zydeco reggae band. I played with this band in Baton Rouge and did a bunch of different stuff. They were kind of like a country Americana act. I always tended to get hired playing guitar for, being in the South and being in the area I was in, like country and the red dirt country stuff, because I was a blues guy mostly at the time, but you could kind of twang out the blues licks and get away with country. And at the time, a lot of that stuff was kind of getting into the classic rock vein anyway. So it was just real easy to, to do that. And then, playing all the different covers and stuff, I knew all the songs and knew all the stuff. And I was fortunate and my name got out and, it wasn't too hard to find work.
And I think that's really says something about somebody's musicianship is when they can.
Yeah.
Like you've played all kinds of music. Like you grew up, I know you grew up playing blues. That was a big influence.
Blues. And I mean, I'm a blues grunge baby. Like, so our mom was very pop oriented,
oh my God.
Prince, George Michael.
That stuff when we were young.
Genesis and stuff like that. Yep. And then Seal.
The Phil Collins. Do.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. And then Pops was, old school classic rock.
He was all into Led Zeppelin, all the
yeah,
brothers.
and so we kind of had that, and then yeah, I grew up as,
Stevie
the first
Ray.
songs I remember hearing on the radio was Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and that was the era that we grew up in.
I used to steal your Nirvana CD whenever we were
Yeah,
really young.
I had the Muddy live at the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah, which was
me being the little brother, I would always kind of,
yeah,
kind of fishtail around you guys, and I would always like take your CDs, but
yeah,
that's what Blake's listening to. This is cool.
Dude, that live at the Wish, I think that's how you say it, Wishkah, but like 3-piece band, dude. I mean, Kurt, Dave, and Chris, and it was like, dude, Kurt's guitar playing, his tone, his sound was just like, I mean, it was so intense, man.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, I grew up with all that, and then then got really into blues when I was like in high school, and then started getting work, and then I figured out pretty quick that okay, well, if you're open minded, and you can get all different kinds of work,
Kind of pay the bill type.
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything.
May not be your favorite style of music to play, but
yeah, I mean, I had one of the bands I ended up playing in. I moved to Louisiana when I was like 23.
A while back, yeah.
Yeah, I was in my early 20s, and I knew a lot of people over there, and I knew there was kind of a scene over there where you could basically, I mean, there's guys over there, they play 4 or 5 nights a week. I mean, they make as much or more than like teachers make, just playing music 4 or 5 days a week. There was a whole economy for that over there, and I just wanted to play all the time and get better. And I knew a few people, and so I moved over there and was there about a year and a half, and then auditioned for this big corporate band at the time called Mojo. They were based out of Metairie, New Orleans, and that's what they did. They did everything from Earth, Wind, and Fire and classic R&B stuff. Like that was right about the time that Michael Jackson passed, so we did a whole slew of Michael Jackson from like Quincy Jones era to the Man in the Mirror, all that stuff like that. And at the time I was thinking, man, I don't want to play all this stuff. But then it kind of like, as I started getting into it and learning, I was like, really found a whole new appreciation for all of that stuff. Like really having to dig into it and pick all the parts out and learn. It was like, wow, like
and I think
Prince and
you could
stuff
also
like
kind
that.
of put your own
to a degree,
it.
you know what I mean? And it made me that much better of a player. But like going back like to the money thing, man, I mean, we would do a club gig and pack out the club, charging like $10 at the door. And I would make my rent plus some in one night,
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you could make really good money doing it,
Well, yeah, Louisiana's music scene is a lot bigger than I think people
it's
realize.
there wasn't not a real big original music scene per se. Lafayette is more
working
original
musician scene.
but yeah, like in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, a lot of guys that lived, half the band lived in the Baton Rouge area, and then or about a third of the band lived in the Baton Rouge area, and the rest of them lived in Metairie in New Orleans, and they would go play on Bourbon Street during the week. And same thing, doing what we would call the Bourbon Street set list. There's this kind of this list of songs that just pretty much like every band did, but that was their hustle, and they worked. And I mean, yeah, you made ridiculous money doing it.
So, and
not rich, but you can make a good living doing it.
I do remember this story vaguely. Wasn't there a story about where you were up in New York with touring with some guy, and like you guys got in a big argument or something, and somebody got left on the side of the road? I can't remember. I vaguely remember it.
There was an instance one time we had a guy, and I got to preface this now because everybody's is all good now.
Okay.
But yeah, we had.
But I vaguely remember the story. But go ahead.
I was on tour with at one point, and yeah, there were some issues, and we had to send a guy home. One time.
So what happened?
You
don't want to name names. Just
basically him and the guy writing the checks got into a fight, and it got to a point where it almost got physical, and the guy writing the check said, yeah, it's not going to roll, so send him home.
Really? What did he play in the...
he was playing bass.
He's a bass player.
Yeah.
And what did they get in a fight over, like, how much he was getting paid?
I don't remember. I mean, when you get out there, there's a lot of really cool things about being out there and traveling, but there's also, our budget wasn't to the point where we had like a driver and a crew. Like we were still our own crew.
Hotels.
We
whatever,
drove,
yeah.
and I mean, so yeah, it could get tired and things can get tense sometimes. You can get travel weary, and I think it was just, from what I can remember, it was just things like that,
Tired, stressed out.
Yeah, tired, stressed out. And I remember, like, after he did it, I mean, the main guy, like, he got upset. He wasn't a bad guy. I mean, he just got upset about it, like, it was a bad thing. But the cool thing was, I mean, everybody's all cool today,
Good.
It was just one of those things that happens.
I hear that. And you've actually, what's like the coolest, because I know you've told me some pretty cool shows you've done, like, do you have like a favorite state or area that you've ever played in? Or
Man,
I know it's
to this
everything
point,
is so different.
Because I haven't been to some of the cool spots. A lot of the places that we did when I was doing that were, I mean, for lack of a better word, were just shitholes.
Yeah.
But
you did, correct me if I'm wrong, you played at the Super Bowl one year.
Yeah.
Not like the
That was
halftime
cool.
show like J-Lo and Shakira.
Yeah, that was cool, but that wasn't the coolest one I did. And I'll tell you why. We had, was it 2011? This is when the Saints won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The band Mojo had basically gotten in with the Saints organization, and we did all their parties. We did their Christmas party, all that kind of stuff. Hung out with Drew Brees. He liked me because I was the only guy from Texas. And Drew is from Austin, I believe. Yeah, he thought that was cool.
For those of you that don't know, I am a gigantic Saints and a humongous Drew
Yeah.
Brees fan. So that
Yeah.
to me is just like the coolest thing. But
And he really is that nice. Like he was
super nice dude.
Yeah, no air about him. He was super cool. You know what I mean? But yeah, so when we did that, we played, I think the night before, because it took us a whole day to drive there. We drove.
It was in Florida.
Miami.
It was in Miami. Oh, that's
Miami.
way down there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we played a gig on like a Super Bowl was what, on Sunday. So yeah, we must have played on a Friday. Did a full usual gig, and then we packed up right after that gig, and then started driving.
Jeez.
And drove all day Saturday, and then got there. If I remember right, we got there kind of late Saturday night. I couldn't even remember how long a drive it was to Miami, but I mean, it was because you go all the way down. We go all the way across the south and all the way down to the tip of Florida. So I mean, it took us a day and a half to get there, and then we got up the next day, and that was game day. That was so we got up, went, set up, did our thing. We had a little bit of downtime, and I can remember joking because we saw people walking around with. They already had like T-shirts printed up, like championship T-shirts for both teams, and I remember joking around with the sax player, like, we should go steal one of those boxes because one of those things is going to be worth a fortune on eBay when this is done. You know what I mean? The losing team. So
That's funny.
But yeah, we went and did it, and it was pretty trippy to see all these like celebrity types all in the
kind of making appearances.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, oh, brother, I don't really care about all that stuff. Like, they're just people, The coolest guy probably was Kelsey Grammer from Frasier.
Really?
He was super cool, dude. Yeah, he was like, so cool. I was like, man, I love your show. I used to watch your show with my grandfather all the time, whatever. He was just like super cool. I was like, would you mind if I like got a picture from him? He was like, yeah, man, come on. Like, and at the time I'm doing this, all these people are around him just flashing.
Oh, and he was totally cool about it.
And he was just, he just was like, he was so nice, man. And to me, I'm thinking, man, like, that's a whole nother level when you got all these people and all this shit going on around you.
I can't imagine.
And and he was just super cool, man. Really cool. Harry Connick was there, but he was kind of, I love Harry Connick, but he was a little funky. But I think that was because he apparently wanted to bring his big 30-piece orchestra to play. And I don't think the organization wanted to foot the bill, and I think he might have gotten pissed. But he was cool, though. Like, I remember when our horn section was badass. And I remember he was sitting right up front, and I can't even remember what song we were doing, but dude, they were just killing it because these guys they killed it every night. And they would play keyboard parts while they were playing their horn part. So like my dude Mike would have his hand on his sax blowing away, and then he'd be playing a keyboard part.
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, dude, these dudes were just boss. And like I remember looking out, and like Harry Connick was like,
yeah.
And I mean, and for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, dude, he's a world-class musician. So you know, I mean, that was like, I remember they were pretty stoked about that. But
that's awesome. Yeah, that's
almost tripped the owner with my guitar cord. Like he tripped. What was his name? I know he's passed, but the guy that owned the Saints.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he passed away not too
Yeah,
long ago. Yeah,
he was walking up at the end of the night to do it was at the end of our set, and he was walking up to do some kind of presentation or something. He walked up and like tripped over my guitar cord, and I was like, and yeah, everybody was laughing. They were like, "Dude, you almost killed him with your like, this big like Super Bowl night."
Speaking of, didn't you get in a fight with an older guy?
Oh, that's
at a gig?
totally. Yeah,
this
that's
is
a totally
unrelated,
other,
but
yeah.
just speaking of like older dudes at your gigs hurting or
That's a totally different lifetime.
please share this story.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite stories in the world.
This is one, yeah, and I still haven't.
And before you get into the story, let me just say that you are not like an overly aggressive dude. You're one of those guys that you remind me of like a snake. Like you're just chilling and you're cool, but if somebody pokes you, it's like.
Yeah, you poke me hard enough, like anybody.
Yeah. But anyways, this story is awesome.
So we were in, I believe it was Laramie, Wyoming. I was very young. I was maybe 22, 21, 22, young. And at the time, the guy playing bass for us was a guy named Kevin Hare, who Kevin plays with a guy named Joel Saunier, who's a big roots guy in Louisiana, Cajun roots guy, won Grammys, all this stuff. And Kevin was kind of like my mentor, my big brother on the road. He taught me the Nashville number system and stuff like that. And he was my boy, kind of like my big brother on the road. And Kevin and I's thing was gin and orange juice. Okay. We would usually on the first break of the first set, one of us, usually me, would go to the bar and get Tanqueray and OJ, and that was our drink. That's what we did. And I'd just gotten our drinks, and I had noticed this older guy. I think he ended up being like 65, but he looked about that old. And he was sitting next to this younger girl who was easily my age.
At that time, young.
Yeah,
20s?
21, 22.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And this was our first night that we were there. We had a 4 or 5 night run at this place.
Okay.
And it was our first night, and I could tell she was getting uncomfortable, and he was obviously trying to get her to dance or something, but like he was like grabbing her arm.
No.
Not forcefully, but it was just,
enough to make it really uncomfortable.
He was crossing the lines, and she was clearly uncomfortable. So me, and my youthful ignorance, thinking, man, I'll go swoop in, and I believe now the term is Captain Save-A-Ho. Yeah, this wasn't a coined term yet, so I'm just thinking I'll swoop in and play boyfriend, and maybe I'll get a date, and like old man will buzz off. And she was a good-looking girl, and I was like, yeah, I was a single guy at the time, so I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So I manned up, and I did it. And of course, I sat down next to her and was just like, hey, what's up, babe? You good? And she kind of looked at me with this look like, oh, like, and it took her a second, but she realized what I was doing. And she was like, oh my God, thank you. And instantly it was just like, yeah, thank you. And caught on. And I'm thinking that this old guy is just going to buzz off.
Go find somebody else to talk to.
He's drunk and he's going to buzz off. No. Now what happened?
Okay.
He starts hollering, and he starts, escalating. And it got to the point I get up, and he's getting in my face. And Kevin, who, like I said, I just gotten us some drinks. And
hang on. Why? Is it? Why the video stops like that? Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Was it recording the whole time?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So I get up, and like I said, Kevin and I just got into some drinks, and Kevin, it's funnier if you know Kevin and you know his personality. He's got an extremely dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and he's just that kind of guy. He's very quiet, acts like he's cooler than everybody, and will just, cut you down and just be a smart ass. And Kevin was sitting over at the table, and like I said, this old man's getting in my face, and he ain't backing down. And I'm kind of like,
was he a big guy?
He was he wasn't big. I remember him being a little bit taller than me, but it wasn't like, dude, I'm 21, 22. I worked out.
You weren't small, but he wasn't.
This old man wasn't whipping my ass, dude. It wasn't happening. But at the same time, I'm not really a fighter until, you got to provoke me way past the...
Yeah, you're pretty chill
to get me to that point.
Yeah.
And like I said, this was our first night of like a 4-night run. I'm not wanting to cause any trouble.
This is the first... So you guys had to come back 3 nights after?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I'm looking, I consider myself kind of, the guy I was playing for, he was a super cool guy, but at the same time, I'm like, I work for him and I represent him.
You can't
and
just haul off and deck
well,
somebody or.
he wouldn't have been mad, but
But still, yeah, I get it.
I was professional like that, man. It was one of the reasons why I kind of got where I got is because I just handle my business like that.
Yeah.
And so the guy keeps backing me up, and I'm like, dude, I can't lay out this old dude. I can't. He's like 65, dude.
Yeah,
I can't lay
it's
him
like
out.
Elderly abuse.
Yeah, I don't care how drunk, even if he's a little bit bigger than me. I couldn't do that,
Yeah.
But so he keeps backing me up, and then he ends up pushing me.
No.
Yeah, and like he's really
Legitimately full.
yeah,
out?
like he shoved me, and like he's really escalating. And boy, and like then it's like I went from like DEFCON 4 to like 2. It was like, okay, dude, you do that again. I don't care how old you are, you're gonna get slapped. And
open palm. Boom.
well, and that's what ended up happening. But so after the first time he pushes me, he's still hollering, and I look over at Kevin, and Kevin's sitting down, and I'm looking at Kevin for like help, like like the Kevin Hart thing, like
Yeah.
help me.
And
I'm looking at Kevin, and Kevin is just sitting there with his OJ,
laughing.
He's just laughing.
I feel like that would have been me. Like
Yeah, and his look basically just his look basically just says,
he's over there just like this, like.
yeah. And I'm looking at him like, help me, what do I do? And his look is just saying, you better put him down, man, because he wants a piece of you.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so like he ended up. I remember, he pushed me again, and the next thing I know, because like I'm backing up the whole time he's doing this.
Yeah.
And the second time he pushed me, I hit the wall. We were kind of to the right of where the stage area
So
was.
you're literally backed up against the wall.
Yeah, so I'm backed up against the wall, and I'm like, all right, dude. And I remember I just kind of grabbed his shirt and then like Rick James'd him all in one motion. Pulled this way, and just wow, and sent him. It was like a half push, half bitch slap, and I just sent him. I mean, because he was drunk, and he went about 8 feet that way onto the dance floor in front of everybody. Beer falls everywhere. He falls on his ass, embarrassed, and the bouncers come out, whatever. And I talk to the guy. I tell him what happened. I said, hey, look, man. We just got here. I know I'm not trying to, start any shit, but this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. I didn't have any choice. He got it.
Literally self-defense, I mean.
Yeah, and he got it. But at the same time, apparently, this old dude owned the bowling alley in Laramie, Wyoming.
Shit.
Yeah, which in Laramie, Wyoming.
You just bitch slapped.
Yeah.
Open palm bitch slapped.
Yeah. So, and apparently, if you own a bowling alley in Laramie, Wyoming, you're King Dick. So they wouldn't throw him out. Yeah, they wouldn't throw him out. So
Did he keep fucking with you? Oh, excuse me. Did he keep messing with you?
Yeah, he did, but I kept messing with him back. I mean, at the same time too, I'm trying to impress this girl.
How brave do you have to be to get open hand bitch slapped and then continue to try to talk trash to somebody? Dude, he was just give it up.
Well, just wait. When I get to the end of the story, you're gonna see how brave he got.
Okay.
So, we end up playing the rest of the night. He's heckling all night, and he's not throwing stuff at us, but he's just heckling or whatever, dude. And I'm
Talking
giving
trash.
yeah, and I'm giving it right back to him, dude. I'm throwing a guitar behind my back and giving him a bird, and just I'm trying to impress this chick too. And so fast forward to the end of the night.
Always a good reason.
Yeah. And wait, this isn't even the best part of the story yet. This is one of those like you think it's not going to get any better, and it keeps getting better.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. So we get done, and it's the end of the night, and they had a little, I won't say shack, but it was a little attachment onto the back of the bar with a small room and a shower and a couple of beds. Half the guys, I think we were like we were 4-piece at that time, so half the guys stayed in there, and me and David stayed on the bus. So David and I are on the bus eating like our TV dinners or whatever and chilling after the show, probably drinking a beer or two, and there's a knock on the door, and I'm sitting in the front passenger captain's chair. It was one of those rotating.
Okay.
And if you've ever been up in one of those buses, one of those RVs, like when you're up in it, like and you're up, when somebody's down on the ground, like you're kind of up from them a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was this
Looking down.
Yeah, it was this other guy, shorter dude.
Wasn't the dude you slapped?
No, this
Okay.
other old and he was just piss drunk, and he just what do you want shit. And I remember going, fuck you just say?
Well, I almost didn't just understand you right now.
Yeah, but that's what I from my memory. That's what I remember.
Was just slurred.
That's kind of I think that's what he was saying. Like, which one of you wants some shit? You know, like,
Yeah.
and then he said it 2 or 3 more times, and then I put it, and then I looked to my left, and I see it was the guy from inside. And 2 other of his old dude buddies, and this guy, like a bunch of high school kids, they had come back and they were ready to go.
Wow.
And I remember telling this dude, I was like, dude, I will punch you to, like, because where my foot is, and this guy's so short, I'm like, dude, I will drop kick you to Canada, dude. What are you doing?
Hey, them 65-year-olds don't play in Laramie, Wyoming.
Dude, I'm telling you. And so, well, David, you know, he's a hot-blooded coon-ass dude. And so he starts popping off because David had a 357 he kept up in a lockbox in the back of the bus.
Shit.
And he starts popping off about that. Next thing I know, I'm just sitting there and I'm like,
spectating.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here and they're going at it. And the other guy said something about, well, we got something for you too. And I'm like, and I want to say somebody said something about a shotgun or something, maybe.
Good night.
Because at this point, Kevin and the other guy, which Kevin used to be in the Air Force, so Kevin knows how to take you down, and he's a pretty stout dude. They had walked up and walked behind this guy, and we're just kind of sitting there, but we're basically waiting for it to pop off, so to speak.
Jeez.
And I'm sitting here thinking, man, David's about to get me shot over this girl. I didn't even get her name. And basically, the cops ended up getting called. They leave. Cops show up. Everything dies down, whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. So that was that. Now, wait, there's more.
Oh my gosh.
Next night, the guy, he didn't show up the rest of the week. But the next night, same girl is back there. Now remember, she didn't have nobody with her. She had a friend with her. Okay. Another female friend with her. But she didn't have nobody else with her. And I thought she was single. She shows back up with her boyfriend, who's twice as wide as me. He's a big old boat up dude. And she comes up to me after our first break because I saw her and I saw him and I remember thinking, oh shit, really? And so she comes up to me and I was just going to politely kind of just steer clear. You know what I mean? Because nothing happened. I mean, she ended up going and nothing remotely even came close to even happening or anything. Yeah. But she comes up, she goes, I can't remember her boyfriend's name, but she's grabbing him. She's like, yeah, this is the guy that saved me. And
that's kind of awkward.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the look in his face, dude. Like, excuse my French, but like he sticks his hand out and I shake his hand and he's looking at me like, you were trying to fuck my girlfriend, weren't you? And I'm shaking his hand, looking him in the eye like, yes, I was. And that was that was the funniest part about the whole thing is that she showed up the next night with her boyfriend that I didn't know, and then we had to awkwardly, and it was just like, all this.
The open hand.
Yeah, all of this hullabaloo for nothing.
Have you ever been in an actual fight?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And I've got my ass whipped, yeah. Both.
Okay.
I have whipped ass and had my ass whipped, yes.
Who did you get in? Well, you don't need to name names.
I don't remember, man. It was back in the day.
Back in like high school you got in fights?
I was in like late middle school.
What? Yeah. Really? I didn't know.
I clocked a dude in the eye and then he went to school and told everybody I hit him with a hockey stick. Yeah. And I was like, no, you thought you got hit with a hockey stick. I told you not to run through my mama's flowers on your bike, punk.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the other time, I didn't really get my ass whooped. It was a semi-friendly wrestling thing, but I ended up getting mad because I was getting my ass whooped. And I kept getting hemmed up. And yeah, so that was, but I never really got, there was one time in high school. You remember the dude with me and the 2 girls in the truck? Yeah. And he like sucker punched me through the
I remember that
thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a fight. You
just got sucker punched, which
that was kind of tantamount to getting like jumped.
People that sucker punch or like run up behind.
Yeah, dude, this guy was all sped up on coke and God knows what. Yeah,
like,
I mean, he was out of his mind.
If you want to fight somebody like a man, you look at them and say, "Hey, we're gonna fight." You don't run up behind him and clock him and then walk
like
away
I did.
Hard.
Whose ass I whipped. And I'll never forget it. It was funny because I was nervous about doing it, but I was mad enough to where I was like, I'm going to hit you in the face, but at the same time, I was nervous about doing it.
Yeah.
And I remember I swung once and I missed because he kind of backed up. But then I went after him again, and I mean, dude, I just... Yeah, and he had a big-time shiner for the rest of the week at school.
Yeah.
And we had a small school, so like everybody knew about it. And,
nice. That you hit this guy with a hockey stick.
Yeah, he told everybody I hit him with a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Good times, great old.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing I did want to ask, as far as like music and obviously social media the way it is nowadays, like how do you think?
Just talking with somebody about this the other day.
How do you think music and social media or social, I guess, accounts or services?
Dr. Dre did an interview, and pardon my impoliteness for not being able to quote the periodical or who the writer was, but he did an interview talking about social media taking the mystique out of artists, which, you know, the mystique, think about Zeppelin or ZZ Top, you know, back in the day, you know, I mean, they were masters at the mystique, you know what I mean? You didn't know a whole lot about them. You didn't, you know, this was a pre-internet,
Yeah, now
you know,
it seems like you know everything.
When anything or any news came out about them, it was huge. You know, it was a big deal. Now in the social media age, you have all these people. All they want to do is be famous, and
they'll do anything to go viral or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and it's everybody's has access to it and can do it themselves, and it's just you're just flooded with. And artists, even big artists, you know, it's you know, there's a demand for content all the time, and it kind of ties into, you know, when the internet happened and Napster and all that, and music sales and the music business just took a dive, and the whole thing changed.
Streaming,
the whole entire game changed.
Yeah,
and that's the thing now, and and Drake, he's absolutely right. I've been quietly thinking and saying that for years now, that like, dude, it ruins all the mystique for art, because everybody's just throwing shit out there all the time. Like, dude, I don't want to see Justin Bieber eating a ham sandwich for breakfast or something like that. Like,
yeah,
it's like, dude, you know, and
you literally like everybody puts their life. Well, people that do it.
It's not a big deal anymore.
I'm very, I guess, meticulous. Is that the word? Or careful, I guess I would say. Meticulous, careful.
Meticulous.
Of what I put online or allow people to see.
Because I think there's still a way that you can do that, even in the social media age. But I think it became a trend of, you know, content, and everybody that's wanting to get ahead or get famous or do whatever.
Well,
they follow the trend, and they think, oh, this is what so and so's doing, so this is what we got to do. The next thing you know, that's like the trend, and that's what everybody is doing.
It's not even about getting famous, though. I mean, there's people that literally, like, they wake up and they go, "Oh, I just had a large bowel movement," and then they check in at their house, like.
And people the age of social media is
everything.
Weird. Yeah, it's
like
it's a weird
I can't
thing.
even use Facebook hardly anymore.
Yeah, I don't like to.
I use it primarily for work stuff, but
work and business and funny.
It's just there's so much just.
Well, and you got things that happen like, you know, everybody wants their 15 minutes and want to go viral, and so you got people literally walking around with phones trying to catch somebody in a gotcha moment.
Yeah.
And take it out of context.
Not just that, but like you see people
and virtue signal and do, and it's just
people
it's
that
bullshit.
do like these pranks, they call them, but it's like they're harassing people. And
because the bar keeps getting raised. So this guy did this, we got to outdo it. So now we got to do that, and it keeps getting, and it gets to the point where people are almost.
Well, there was a guy in Baltimore. I cannot remember his name, but he actually got arrested for literally assaulting people and like charged with a couple of different, like, I guess misdemeanors of harassing people or whatnot. But literally
because he was trying to,
he would video himself going up to people and just messing with them, like, but like on a level that was just like clear harassment.
I mean, I get it's kind of a slippery slope right now, and I think you may see this. You may end up seeing this come to a head in the future, like with privacy issues and people just getting taped. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I told you about the lady at the supermarket one time with my dogs in the car and taking pictures and videoing and doing. Oh
yeah,
that.
Go ahead and.
I mean,
tell what happened there.
Well, I mean, she just came out. My dogs were in the car. It was 72 degrees outside. It wasn't hot at all. I went into the store for 5 minutes. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a dog lover. I love my dogs like my kids, and they weren't even panting. They were totally fine. And she just like freaked out and just wanted to get my information, and she just was freaking out about it. And I get out there, and she's, you know, taking pictures of my license plates, and she starts videoing me, and she's like getting right in my face. And if you come up and stick a camera in my face and I don't want it there, I personally feel like that's an invasion of my privacy. And I don't like it.
That's where you get...
If I'm at a show with my band and there's people around it's different. But like when I'm walking, if I'm going to the store, or if I'm just doing any mundane thing and some got you prick wants to come up and try to, you know, that I don't agree with that.
Well, it is, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate. If it's not, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure you can legally videotape anybody in a public space.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that lady has the right to do that.
Yeah, there's good.
I would be mad about it too, but
there's good and there's bad about it. But see, and there's the other side of the slope. You know, I mean, you catch my plate, you catch whatever, and then you go post that to Facebook and it goes viral. All these people can look up my personal information.
I think it's called doxing, maybe, or that's where like you share
maybe a form of it,
or
you know, or people can and that, you know, to me. You know, and
basically say, screw this guy. He left his dogs in her car.
Yeah,
and just because she's mad about it.
Yeah, and that's the downside of that stuff, man. Is in this day and age, when you got everybody's trying to be judge and jury on social media and the mob mentality, you ruin people's lives. Get ruined. You can ruin somebody's life over it. Now, you have examples and circumstances where it's a good thing, and you catch, you know, people doing
horrible
bad
people.
shit.
Yeah,
absolutely. But then you have the other side of that where
like,
things get ripped out of context and people's lives literally get ruined.
Well, and I think people are, you know, quick to judged by society or whatnot.
Mob mentality, man.
Yeah, and so
because everybody wants to virtue signal and be liked by everybody else, whatever side, whatever
it goes
end
back
you're on.
To
that's the thing. It's just basic mob mentality, basically.
And it's also it's something that I've read up on, confirmation bias. You know, with social media, people will only share the stuff that confirms what their ideas are, what their opinions are. So if they see something that, you know, aligns with their ideas or opinions, they're quick to share it and say, see, you know, look, this is...
Yeah. And if...
Without getting factual information. It's like sensationalism almost.
And without having the maturity to have an open mind and at least listen, even if you don't agree with it, but at least just politely hear somebody out or listen to somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Or have civil discussion. Or I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, and same thing. It's like, that's one of the things I said to her is like, yeah, the majority of these people that get on Facebook or whatever and say all this stuff, they would never say that to these people in person.
Keyboard warriors.
Face. Yeah,
keyboard warriors.
And it's just people puffing their chest, and it's a fucking cesspool. Excuse my French. It is. It's a joke. It's ridiculous, and it does nothing. It doesn't do anything. It solves absolutely nothing.
And I don't think you're gonna change. Most people have their minds.
You're not gonna
change.
Yeah, you're not gonna make their mind.
Arguing is.
No.
I'm all for having, you know, like open, educated conversations. Like I have good friends of mine, and we're on just. You know, we have way different views, but we. You know,
but you respect each other, and you don't.
We have really entertaining and fun conversations about it, but we don't like get mad at each other.
Because you're adults.
Yeah. But it seems like social media is just flooded with that. On top of the look at me culture, the look at how nice my car is, how nice my house is, and it's like,
and the virtue signaling stuff, and the you know,
it's just
see, look at me, I'm a good person, blah 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 blah, and
there's a lot of. One thing that I'm really thinking about deleting is my Twitter, because that's the worst. I think Twitter is just
it's getting more and more dangerous in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know, but
it's crazy.
You know,
crazy times.
It's the age
when we were growing up. You couldn't do that. I mean, you couldn't share information immediately.
I can still remember the broadband dial-up sound.
Oh yeah, and then Mom would be like, "Will you boys get off the internet? You're tying up the phone line."
And like when you're in middle school and you're at your friend's house and y'all are trying to look at naughty stuff, and parents get home, you can't get it off the screen fast enough.
The picture takes forever to load.
Yeah, well, and then you can't get it off the screen fast enough, and I mean,
and you're like,
I'm gonna get in trouble. But, yeah, it's just a weird age. But yeah, going back to the music thing, man. I mean, I think there's a way for people to maintain that on there.
Yeah.
But the trend and the
It's too much.
the
You're
need-
overloaded.
Yeah, the need it's overload, and it literally, to me, it's zapped all the fun. It makes me feel old, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not that old, but it makes
God,
me feel.
we do sound old.
No, but it makes me, because it's like it all the fun, all the cool fun things about music, like waiting on bated breath because you knew some announcement was coming, or some concert announcement was coming, or some special performance was coming, instead of just, oh well, they're gonna post 5 different things from their house this week, and it's not, it just,
What do you think?
yeah, it's overload.
Where do you see it in like 10 years?
I've never been one to,
Not just with music,
Which
but
is
just social media. And
probably not good considering what I try to do, but I'm never really good at that kind of stuff. But where I see it, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I feel like we're turning into that. Have you ever seen that movie Idiocracy?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like Terry Crews is going to be
I feel
president.
like it's just going to keep, like I said, and it's
I
already.
hate to sound like a pessimist, but
It's already happened, and it's happening, and it has been happening. Like I said, the music and the music industry and the things that originally, I mean, we may figure out other ways to adapt, as far as like the business side of it and how artists can make money and stuff like that. But yeah, that Mystique thing, I mean, it's like those are the days of old, and it's really it's kind of sad, to be honest with you. They've zapped all the fun out of it. It's zapped the coolest stuff about it. It's taken that from that, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But
Well,
what are you gonna do?
you can still always
Be stubborn and not,
man, if
not, you know what
just
I mean?
imagine
I remember like when all this started, I did
iPhones-
one live feed and then I stopped. That was it.
if
I
iPhones
didn't wanna
would have
do it.
been around, somebody could have videoed you and caught you bitch slapping that old guy in Laramie, Wyoming.
Yeah, and but dude, that's the thing, is like that was what, 15 years ago, and I still haven't lived that down. Like Kevin still.
Well, here we are in 2020,
Yeah,
and I'm asking you to tell the story.
Kevin still play. He still, every time I see him or talk to him, he gives me shit about it.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? And it's stuck with me all this time, because it was. And the
God.
funniest part about it was, that I got there the next night and the girl was there with her boyfriend.
Yeah. Awkward, but
Awkward.
well, good stuff, man. So, wrap up. Just bought first motorcycle,
I did.
and we're gonna ride this weekend. So
Yeah, if it's not raining.
yeah, absolutely. So and we'll have to have you. Definitely want you to come back because hey,
Yeah,
it's
we
my
can
brother.
talk about how bad people drive when you're on a bike, because when you're on a bike, you really see
Yes.
how horrible.
Holy,
people-
the first month,
drive.
the first month I was riding, I was like, people are terrible drivers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Billy Beaumont, thank you, sir. Cheers.
You're welcome.
This is
Cheers.
episode 6. See you guys on the next one.